In this exercise I'm going to build a generic tree, and I'll do one in monochrome and then one in colour, and it allows us to free ourselves once again from the idea of we have to copy something and demonstrate how well we can copy something. This is about creating something from our memory and also from our imagination, and everyone who does this exercise will do something slightly different because it's a form of self-expression. Okay, so in this side I'm going to create a tree, and it's just a case of let your pencil go free. I think I need a little bit more lead here, and so these are just indications of a tree shape as I can remember them. And the thing I have to remind myself with these marks is I'm not going to follow them necessarily, but they are reminders that I may want to leave some spaces, and in fact it's important to leave some spaces because our tree, you want to be able to see through it, and that creates space when you can see through the tree. But it's very important, of course, that your tree does have a nice shape. What you don't want is a pole with a bush on top. So I am just letting my mind and pencil do a bit of free association of trees that I can, the kind of tree that I might see outside the window. Okay, so that's probably enough drawing. Now what I need to do is create the tree in tone. So I'm going to use neutral tint. This is on Saunders Waterford 140 pound rough paper. I've got a number 12 Escoda here, and just test here if I've got the kind of consistency that I want. And you can see I'm using the side of the brush more than the point, and that gives me a bit of a start here. Pick up some more, and my marks remind me that I did want to have some spaces here and there, so I can get a bit more free now. There we are, bit of that, and I'll pick up a little bit more in terms of tone now and let that run through it. Just slightly more pigment in the picked up on the brush. So okay, there we go. Nice broken edges from using the side of the brush. Different brush strokes. I'll pick up slightly more pigment, thicker pigment this time, and put it in here. Hopefully what I want to do is create a little bit of shadow inside the tree so that we get some form, dimension. But what I mustn't do is make it too fussy, so that's the danger always. I'll now switch to a number 10 brush and start to pick up a little bit more pigment and work on this tree trunk here. And this is where really it's about just letting your imagination go free here, and also your brush hand. I'm using the point of the brush here to create these branches and the see-through sections of the tree, and as I said, it's best not to labour this. And so looking at that now, I just think I need some slightly more shadow areas so that you've got dimension under the tree. This is a good exercise for getting yourself familiar before you maybe paint a landscape with pigment to water ratio on the brush. And I think I'll just put a little bit of darkness in here, a little bit darker, give you a bit of dimension. Maybe in there and here. So yeah, there's our tree. You could have a go at that. It's fun. So having warmed up with that one, I'm going to do a colour one here. And the tree, well, it's autumn here, so I'm going to do an autumn tree. Autumn colour tree. So let's see, I'll start with a very light drawing once again. Myself a new pencil. Here we go. Right, tree. Starting at the top to get the idea of a nice big impressive tree. Let the pencil go free. And yeah, just letting the pencil wander really. I'm just looking for nice shapes, and the way to do that is to let the pencil and your mind roam across the page. Okay, and maybe a gap here, maybe a gap there. Okay, that should be enough. Right, so starting with the size 12 brush here, I'm going to mix up. Well, I've got some leftovers here. I'll start with a bit of cadmium yellow, and into that I'm going to put a touch of cobalt turquoise. It's very powerful cobalt turquoise. But I need a nice consistency here, and let's see if I've got it. Could do with a little bit more, so there we are. We're already starting to mix on the paper, and again you'll notice that I'm using the brush on the side. A bit more of that, and I'll start to feed in some changing colour here. There we go, down here. And once I've got that in, I'll feed in some blue. And then what I want to do is put in some cadmium orange straight in here, and let it flow, you know, just don't try to control this too much. That looks nice already. Maybe a little bit of burnt sienna might also be in order. Yep, okay. Mustn't make it too busy. Now I'll switch to the size 10 and pick up some ultramarine blue, maybe a little bit of alizarin thicker here, and what I need to do is create some shadow area so that we've got some dimension. And I want some edges. Okay. And now think about the trunk. So a slightly thicker pigment, ultramarine blue and burnt sienna this time. Let's see, I'll come up from here. Get a nice brush stroke there. And that would go in here and here and let it bleed, I think. Yep. Some nice things happening there. Get some more burnt sienna and mix it on the paper. Sometimes interesting to do a brush stroke from the opposite direction from the way you're normally used to it. So let's see, slightly lighter side. That's just more water. And a few little marks here just to break it up. Okay, I'll go in with some more blue up here. There. And because it runs together, it starts to give you some interesting mixes. So I'll try and get a nice dry brush stroke here. A fast brush stroke on this rough paper usually opens up and you get the texture of the paper, which is quite nice. So I can add a little bit if I want. Just loosen this stuff up here. Okay. Okay, so there's our autumn tree. And the sensible thing to do is leave it there and let the watercolour pigment and water do its magic whilst it dries. It will continue to mix and give some nice effects, as long as I lay my brush down and don't interfere with it anymore. So generic trees, mixing on the paper, having fun.